Here in Fairbanks District.
In the Miami District.
Out of the Carlsbad and Roswell SSC.
Within the FAA.
Nobody's going to come down on you for bringing up a safety issue.
You get someone to listen to you.
Prevent the accident before it happens.
Keep our technicians safe.
Work together and make everything much safer for everyone involved.
There's no PM or restoral that's worth any one of my employees' lives.
Taking ownership is an important part of improving employee safety. Tom and I have been working to improve collaboration and increase communication at the highest levels of the TechOps organization. Your local managers and union representatives have also been a part of this process.
Of course, you have a role to play too. Taking ownership is about employees at all levels of our organization, raising safety concerns and helping to implement solutions to address those concerns.
That's what's so impressive about these stories from colleagues around the NAS who work to take ownership and take action.
Today we came out here to do a TACAN antenna swap out. The traditional method is to use a couple of fiberglass extension ladders.
When you're working from ladders, you're having to reach way around off of the ladder, pushing yourself back and leaning way off to the side, which is an unsafe practice to begin with.
The other risk is fatigue. Once you're standing on the ladder for approximately an hour, fatigue starts to set in, and when fatigue sets in, accidents happen. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
During the first safety stand down, of course I had the whole SSC together at one time, which was great. And Noel here was the one that brought up the unsafe manner in which we typically would change out a TACAN antenna. I just kind of came up with this plan, made all of the purchases necessary, and what you saw, the end result of the safety stand down was this scaffolding.
I am grateful that our boss decided to take matters into his own hands and kind of came up with this ideal and this rigging.
The new process was basically erecting a scaffold to bring us up to the level of the bottom of the antenna itself. That alleviates having the technicians standing on the ladder for a considerable amount of time and having to reach over to either side to disassemble and then to reassemble the new antenna.
One of the added benefits with the scaffolding was the larger work surface. We also were able to have a third person up there where normally we just have the two people, one on each ladder. So we had an extra set of hands up there. Made everything a lot better.
I think it's great. It's got some things that need to be worked on still, with any prototype does, but I think it's a great start in the right direction. I hope something like this scaffolding is adopted in other SSCs and FAA facilities, if not nationwide. I think it'll be a great benefit to everybody.
The STEEL team is a group of volunteers that's decided to take the safety in our district to a higher level, and we think this is going to not only help us in this Miami district, but around the TechOps nationally.
STEEL stands for South Florida Tactical Emergency Rescue from Elevated Structures Team. We provide guidance and safety oversight for any climbing activity that occurs in the Miami district. When they go on the site, they become the team lead at whatever task is being performed that day. And they evaluate everybody's equipment, they evaluate everybody's physical and mental condition, and they take observations of every step of every task. The whole idea behind this is to prevent the accident before it happens.
The commitment of being a STEEL team member is first to educate the people that we're working with. In addition, we train quarterly to stay current with techniques and practice the techniques that we've learned. We do mock rescues using a mannequin and realistic scenarios, including all the gear that we would be using during a real rescue.
Sometimes we make mistakes, and because we make mistakes, we get them pointed out, and that's a learning process. We're going to make mistakes, so make mistakes during training and not during actual rescue.
Recently we performed a simulated mock rescue exercise with the local Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue Department. We were able to observe the techniques that they use, We learn from them and they learn from us. They know our procedures, we know their procedures.
Before the STEEL team was assembled, there was a lot of things that were lacking. You know, we didn't have points of contact with the fire department. We didn't have an SOP. This STEEL team makes it a lot safer for all of us.
When you become a STEEL team member, it's inherent to the position that you have a different outlook on safety. It creates a whole different attitude, and that attitude transfers to the other employees as well. They're a great group of guys, and just by virtue of them volunteering, it shows that they're willing to step up and take responsibility.
Here in Fairbanks District, we cover most of the state of Alaska. People in Alaska are dependent on aviation for their livelihood, for their mail, for their groceries, for medevac. So what we do is extremely important. My employees are often out and about doing their work out in very remote villages, very remote places.
For us here in Fairbanks, we fly out to these remote locations. Most of them are villages where Alaska Natives live. And these villages, the only means of getting in there is by airplane. All of my employees are trained in safety and for Arctic conditions. It's a requirement for working here in Alaska.
The Learn to Return Small Aircraft Survival course is very important because it makes you aware of all the things that can go wrong in a small airplane. They teach us basic outdoor survival skills as well as what to do in an aircraft that crashes. It really helps heighten your awareness of your situation and what could possibly go wrong. And then mentally you prepare yourself because you've had that training and those skills, that if something does go wrong, you're confident that you can come out of it okay.
It's really up to the technicians and the employees out in the field to take care of themselves. They have to be able to be independent and watch out for each other, but when the weather's such, I have to rely on them to make the right decisions about their own safety.
The big thing is be prepared mentally that you can make it out alive, and that goes a long way. When my guys travel out to remote locations, they have to prepare for anything.
Here we are in Hussalia. It's a small village off of the Koyukuk River. To do this job out here in Alaska, it really requires a lot of foresight and preparing ahead. Normally, I'm out here for up to a week sometimes, so I have to think ahead as to what I'm going to need during that time. Plus, even if I'm not staying out here for a week, I got to plan on bad weather, being stranded out here at least a day or so. Got everything that I needed for food, my clothing and survival equipment together, and when I got to the shop, loaded all the test equipment that we're going to need. Checking weather the entire time. Checked with the Wrights Air Service who flew us out here today. Before you get off the plane, you're gearing up to be out in the weather. You get off the plane, you dig into the shelter. Today we were fortunate, our snow machine started right up, and everything went smooth, but when you start hitting 40 below, everything changes.
The little things become really big things at 30, 40 below. They just, they multiply really quick, and it becomes a real tussle to get anything done. You know, once you start having one problem, it just snowballs into another with it being that cold.
Right, and when all those things are going wrong, you don't always have your mind on the fact that it's 30, 40 below outside, and you're set to doing the task. And so you have to pay attention to one another, make sure everybody's doing good. Stop and take breaks and go warm up if you have to. But you really got to be situationally aware, everything going on around you.
We're always looking over everybody's shoulder, and we're slowly changing it from the get it done attitude to the get it done safely attitude. We used to be under the gun a lot of times to get things done now, and now we don't do that.
It's important for the technicians to know that it's okay, that we can't get everything done. We need to take our time. Employee safety comes first. I know it's the same everywhere, but especially in Alaska, you've got to take ownership for it because it is really life or death.
When I first joined the agency, that I felt that some of the issues that I brought up fell on deaf ears. Now with the new culture of safety.
It seems like the whole FAA is really getting involved. Communication is so important. If we don't just keep communicating safety amongst all of us, they could put themselves or another employee in danger. And so
I would just recommend that everyone make the very most of the safety stand down.
What you put into it is what you get out of it. You put nothing in
Absolutely.
it, you get nothing out.
Like Hobbs, Miami, and Alaska, every workplace faces safety challenges in maintaining the nest. But you and your colleagues can make a difference at your workplace.
We're all working to make TechOps the safest workplace it can be. Let's continue to work through open dialogue and collaboration. Let's take ownership and take action.